morning, you guys. We actually stayed out till midnight last night at one of our neighbors' houseboats. It was so fun, but that is like so unusual for us. We're like the type to always be in bed by like 9:30, so definitely feeling a little slow this morning, but that is what the builders are for, thank God. We, of course, are building our brand new floating cabin, and that build starts this week with the, I guess, kind of like phase one, the dock build. If you need to get caught up on our plans for the new build and how all that's gonna go down, I'll link the playlist here, but otherwise, let's go get after it. Vámonos!
Alright, so everybody wants to know about the man, the myth, the legend. And I have him right here. His name's Jericho Ball.
There he is.
He's got a quarter carpenter, quarter beaver, quarter crow, and a quarter beer in it.
Rumor has it, Jericho, that you do have a tattoo to memorialize your spirit animal.
Beavers are carpenters too. They're the best damn builders on the planet.
But
Basically, this kid will have this thing sitting in the water on floats, shelled out, roof, everything, weather permitting, in 14 days. So we're gonna hold him to it.
We are very psyched to have Jericho and his team.
Hello, everybody.
They're gonna help us out a lot, and they're already doing things like so significantly better than we ever would have. Who do you have with you over here?
So these are my cousins, Jesse and Jed. And they're pretty good if you like
This is the front porch here. And then these are your side porches. And then the house is in the center here. We're not hooking this together till it goes in the water.
So these aren't
These
bolted
are not
yet or anything?
screwed to this yet. They just got it all laid out so they can square it all up.
Also,
I like it.
that way y'all can look at it, you know.
Get a feel for it. No, this is good.
Damn, we had a rave today.
What? Listen, if you put my music on shuffle, you don't know what you're gonna find.
I've noticed
That's a dangerous game. It's
Yeah.
like roulette.
Yeah.
those boards right there
Yeah.
will go. They go in here, and that's what they're marking them out so they can just cut them all, put them in there, and nail them real fast.
Makes sense.
Something that we would probably do one at a time.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. I was like, we wouldn't have been that smart.
This is why Jericho's building this, not us.
Right.
This part we could do. It's the framing and all that. Y'all should have seen Sarah and I frame. Most houseboats have little screws in them about that big with a big old washer. I mean, they're
Really?
little bitty. There's nothing like what you got there. What happens
Mostly
is
just
when
for
the weight hits these boats and the floats ain't in,
Yeah.
that's when they start moving.
Yeah.
So it's really just to keep it in place. It doesn't require a ton. Like what you got is great.
Yeah.
Like, I like it.
Like I said, I'm gonna overkill it.
And thus begins phase one of our dock build, which is going to entail framing out the docks, bolting the floats to them, getting them in the water, and putting the deck boards on. I think that's a good sign.
Is that how you test the wood?
Yeah. Feels solid.
Jared?
It'll float.
Over the docks.
We're gonna go ahead and drill all of these for the bolts so that it's ready to go, so that we know right where they're going whenever we set it in the water. And then we set it in the water, marry the holes up,
And we don't zigzag the
we'll
bolts.
stagger them. Yeah.
Yeah, don't put them all in the middle.
I'm gonna put them all in the middle. Y'all are gonna wake up underwater. Hello, GoPro, are you still alive?
Yeah, that's all.
Hello?
Well,
We figured it out.
Big thanks to Jericho and his crew for being willing to help film this process so that we could share it with you guys.
We're flipped. We're ready to screw floats on here.
Nice.
I've actually done all the work.
Brandon totally did not just show up.
What's your spacing on these?
We got to do those outside ones first, so we need those 8-footers. Grab those 8-footers next, guys.
Alright, floats are going in the water. These are the side docks.
Have y'all got the other one ready, or you gotta go put the floats on this?
Getting them all bolted together in the water. It's upside down. But so that's gonna be the house with its floats and then the dock on the front. So I'm gonna have a 2x4 going down with a diagonal tying back to the house and another diagonal tying in the front of the dock. So it'll hold everything together. You know, this is as much a learning experience for me as it is for you guys, because doing the, you know, putting my engineering hat on and doing the best I can.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be fine. I typically overbuild anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think if it works out, then you'll probably be doing a lot more of these.
So. We keep talking about that, and I'm just like, man, if I could just do these.
Well, it's like nice views, and you know, they're all different.
Oh yeah.
All right, here's our front dock section. Getting it ready to lay it back over. Sit it on a trailer, take it to the water. That's OSHA approved. He's actually got on an invisible harness, and it's hooked to a sky hook.
Alright, docks are going in the water. They do indeed float. This is an exciting day. So we've got our front porch here, side dock and side dock. Just waiting on putting in the main house dock. I'm definitely liking the size of this front porch. Now that I'm looking at it, it's a lot like, it doesn't go quite as far out as I was envisioning, but it is a lot longer. I like it.
Alright, so we're putting bungs in the floats.
Is that really what they're called?
I call them bungs. Looks like a bung. So these floats, if they're not in the water and they're sitting up on land and sealed up, they'll explode. They get too much pressure in them, they're black. So you have to leave a little weep hole in them until you get them in the water. Then you can seal them up for life. If you don't do this, you'll blow out some of your floats. They'll pressurize up and blow out. That's your breathing hole for the styrofoam's in there. But if you leave that out over time, water's gonna get in it. Then you're gonna have waterlogged floats. This is the front dock structure. These are the side docks. And then we're waiting on the platform for the actual cabin. TVA won't let you build it all in one part. It has to be sections. The open dock has to be separate built from the house. Theoretically, you'd want to build this all one part, so it's stronger, but that's not how we are allowed to do it, so we just work around what we got.
These boards right here are just braces that we've got going across all the docks right now, just to keep it square while we're moving them around and messing with them for a while, but those will come off before we put the deck boards on that you actually walk on. What we got here?
This is our holding tank for all our black water and gray water. I cut these holes in it, put these valves, and this will be the inlet, and this is the outlet. This 300-gallon holding tank. Is this gonna fit?
It should go in between these two. Yeah. It should go right in between these. We should have an ear here, same thing on your side.
Okay.
Set it down.
Alright, good talk.
Nice.
Let's do that. We can drill these holes at least and get it on here for the
We
day.
can put it in there, yeah.
Yep.
So with the floats bolted in and the septic tank installed, it's finally time to pick this thing up, put it on a trailer, and float it in the water. Brandon and Jericho have both done this before with metal frame docks, but we were about to find out how having a wood frame dock was going to create some additional challenges. Alright, we are readjusting. Jericho didn't like something about that. Something didn't sit right. That wasn't working. It's been in the wood. Down on the other end of the lake, they don't float year-round. There's actually not water in the harbors year-round, which the downside of that is if you're trying to live year-round on your houseboat, you can't because there's no water, it's not floating. The upside is when you're building, you can more or less build in place and you don't have to worry about logistical things like this. So pros and cons there, but we're working with what we got because our harbor obviously is floating year-round. And what I'm referring to, in case you're not familiar with Fontana, is the 65 foot lake drop that we have every year. That's how much our water fluctuates. So depending on where you're sitting, our harbor has probably 200 feet of water. Other harbors might only have 60. So that's usually when you'll see most people doing work on their houses and on their floating cabins, because it's much easier to access. You can drive right up with your materials and whatnot, but that's definitely an added challenge in our harbor. Although I wouldn't trade it, it is making things tough because it's really difficult to move something this heavy. But as per usual, Brandon did a little creative problem solving and came up with a strategy to lift this thing up without bending the wood. Essentially, we created some support legs that were able to help support the dock from the ground up instead of putting all the pressure on the wood by picking it up from above. If this looks kind of sketchy, it's because it probably is. But as Brandon reminded me, the stakes were actually pretty low.
I mean, worst that happens, that board will break and that thing will fall and hit the ground. We'll have to figure something else out, but I mean, we'll be all right.
Alright, he's backing out. Woo! Here we go. That looks like you could get the trailer under it, huh? All right. Barely. Despite being somewhat of an awkward process, this actually did end up working out pretty well for us. We successfully got the dock onto the trailer, down the ramp, and into the water just before sunset. We got our house on a leash. Here we go. Everything's in the water.
We did good today. Y'all did good. This is a lot to do in 3 days. That's a wrap. 3 days.
Alright, looks like we've got the whole thing bolted together today.
Alright, so now we're to the house part. The guys are putting plywood down and they're running one direction, and then the Vantech will go on next and it'll run the opposite direction, which will create a real flat, stable, waterproof floor. This Vantech's only good in the rain for 180 days before you got to actually cover it, or it'll soak up water. So it'll be fine until he gets the house on there, framing and the roof in, and get rained on. Now, Jericho, you like flat floors so that you don't lose your marbles? Is that why we're doing this?
Yeah. Don't want to lose them.
Some of us never had marbles.
We've got Brandon's mama in the house. She's so happy to see you. Lucky for us, Brandon's mom is an interior decorator, so we wanted to get her over here to get her advice before we framed out the walls so that we could start thinking about where furniture was going to go, where windows needed to go, so on and so forth.
The minute I get out of the car, I start spending Brendan's money.
You got to take over anymore? take over, but not an
Well, that's the job of an interior decorator. Spend other people's money. Hopefully in a way they like. We've, it's probably hard to see on camera, but we've drawn out the lines to the rooms here.
You get all that back.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you running into that.
Yeah, that will feel less awkward and less closed in when you walk
like
in.
You get a lot more space. Because look, probably what's going to happen, your refrigerator's going to sit right here. And then you've got all this for counter space. Now this is, counters go 24 inches out. So here's your fridge. You've got counter space, counter space, counter space. You turn, decide where you want your sink with your window, and counter space, oven. You got a whole lot more counter.
Yes.
You got, How wide does a step have to be to go up?
Oh God! I mean, there's code requirements for like an actual set of stairs, but for what they're
This would be
doing,
like a glorified ladder. Like
yeah,
easier than a ladder.
For what
but
you're doing, I would figure maybe 6 inches or less than that.
I feel like all you really need is like 2/3 of your foot on it.
If you're doing a ladder, though, I don't know.
No, we're talking about like that graduate up.
Yeah.
And have
But you're
storage under.
trying to put it like right here,
We're
right?
trying to start over here somewhere and go up.
I don't want a ladder because that's harder for older people and stuff. But
Yeah.
we also don't have space for normal stuff.
That space doesn't matter
Well,
because
when
all
you-
of this is foot traffic space.
Honestly, it is difficult walking around looking at these rooms like this. It feels really small. But I remember it feeling that way once we cleared all the walls out of our current house as well. It's like actually putting walls in makes things feel bigger sometimes.
Don't panic. This is a lot bigger than it looks.
Yeah, I think it will be, but it is a little
When
bit
you
like I
build
was like, oh my
houses-
God, this feels really
time.
small.
Every time
Yeah.
we'll look at our builder and go, did y'all shrink that by half? And
Yeah.
and then we go, then the walls start going all that and it grows.
Yep.
It's strange.
Every house we build is small because me and Dad build spec houses and they're like typically 1,000 square foot. And
Is that small?
Really?
Well, not for you.
For normal people.
Not for you, yeah. Regular human.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you get it laid out and the floor done, and it's like, oh my God, how the hell's everything going to fit? And then you get walls done, and you're like, wow, this is roomy as can be.
We've got quite a few more details to iron out over the weekend, but it's time for Jericho's team to go home, take a little break, and come back refreshed next week, ready to frame out the house. Jericho, what's our next steps?
I will be here Monday. Today's Thursday. I'll be here Monday, and we're gonna finish up all the deck boards. We're gonna put y'all's egress in, so we're gonna cut that out and put some deck boards. We're gonna frame all the walls, maybe Tuesday. We are gonna do the plumbing for the floor system. We're gonna do the roof Wednesday and Thursday and have it dried in minus walls by the end of the day, Thursday, maybe Friday.
There we go.
So,
We'll have something look like a house this time next week, huh?
y'all should have a roof on it by this time next week.
Holla! Appreciate your help so far. It's looking really good.
And then the next week, we'll do the siding and the front roof, and I'll probably be done after that.
And then we'll take over from
You'll
there.
take over.
Lots to look forward to then. Can you guys recreate that? That was adorable.
Here, hang on.
What was it?
You fist bumped
Your
me
little-
and then we kissed, I think.
Yes.
Y'all get some rest this weekend, boys.
Before we go, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to Gabrielle, Janet F., Rich Walsh, and Adam Gorman, our donators to our Buy a Real Camera Fund last week. So appreciate that. We're about a third of the way there. Thank you so much. Seriously, Rich had the smart idea of listing a PayPal instead of just doing the super thanks, because YouTube does take a small cut of that super thanks money. If you ever feel so led to donate to our channel, PayPal name and link and all that is in the description below, or the super thanks is still absolutely an option. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about this. What you thought about this episode. Otherwise, yeah, until next week.